Nau piki mai I haere mai ki te taiwhanga uenuku I te pāremata o Aotearoa.
This room is incredibly special and important to me because it signifies the history of Rainbow Members of Parliament, and it also signifies our legislative history.
When Europeans first came to our country, they were not comfortable with what appeared to be a very relaxed attitude to same-sex sexuality. And so immediately they took steps to try and criminalise it. In fact, they worked really, really hard to pretend that it never existed at all.
And after the 1984 election, I introduced what was then called the Homosexual Law Reform Bill. Gay men were not a threat, they were just the person they worked with, the person next door. So many men came out, and of course they took a huge risk because they were criminal. And had the bill not succeeded, that would have been the most terrible blight on their lives. So I'm still very proud that I was able to do it.
When I was young, the only visible transgender woman in New Zealand was Georgina Bayer, and she was a hero to me. And now I get to enjoy being an adult in New Zealand and know that the path was cleared for me by someone who was really powerful and inspirational.
I guess I acquitted myself very well when we had what has now come to be known as the Enough is Enough March, led by the Destiny Church. When the 8,000 arrived at Parliament to protest against civil unions, it was a dark day, I feel. And of course, civil unions came to pass, and then was followed, less than 10 years later, by Louisa Wall's presentation of marriage equality to the country. And considering the venal debate that happened over civil unions throughout the country, marriage equality managed to slip through, pretty well supported from within the Parliament, and more importantly, from a majority of New Zealanders. You see, with patience and perseverance, the country, by and large, will come on board because they can see all we want is equality.
The majority of the civil union was only, I think, 10 votes, so it was a pretty tight debate. But looking back on it now, it's amazing that only a few years later, marriage equality went through overwhelmingly.
It was a very special time, so extending that right to all New Zealanders, consenting adults who want to engage in the marriage process, I think for us has been a beautiful thing.
I gave, on behalf of the government and people of New Zealand, an apology to the men who were unfairly traumatised and stigmatised over many years for just being who they are. And actually one of the really special things was the way Parliament came together.
It's really exciting to see the level of rainbow representation, particularly here at Parliament.
I think having a room where there's a physical embodiment of the Crown's commitment to diversity, LGBTIQAP+ rights is really powerful.
I think in New Zealand we're really privileged and really lucky that we have had legislation pass, and kind of our community has got the rights that we do have today, and we're in the place that we are.
It seemed quite appropriate, given the proud history we have in this country over rainbow issues, that we should have a rainbow room, representation for our community in a solid bricks and mortar sense here at Parliament. And here it is.